Welcome to the Weekly MindSweep number 207, Curator's Perspective, Belonging. Belonging without translation. This is what safe feels like. One of the most honest things anyone has ever said in curated conversation was, "This is the first room where I feel like I don't have to translate myself." No one laughed it off or rushed past it. Instead, heads nodded, shoulders dropped. In that quiet pause, it felt like everyone in the room let out a breath and shared the same thought. Oh, it's safe to be me here. For entrepreneurs and small business owners, especially those with creative, ADHD, and neurodivergent brains, that experience is not the norm, it's the exception. Running a business is already mentally and emotionally demanding. In fact, 87% of entrepreneurs say they face at least one mental health challenge. Over 50% struggle with anxiety. Over 45% are managing high stress. Almost 40% have financial worries. And over 25% of entrepreneurs struggle with loneliness and isolation. When you add years or even decades of masking, rejection sensitivity, and the too much, not enough feedback, building a business can start to feel less like freedom and more like you've been exiled. Curated conversation has become an antidote to that exile. Not a mastermind, not a networking group. Instead, it's a weekly, coffee-fueled experiment in what happens when you build a business community around how people's brains actually work, not how they're expected to work. In January, our community celebrates its 4th anniversary. We've gathered for over 200 Mondays, and we've covered over 40 topics. It has become a living brain trust space for the neuroscience of belonging and for the slow, sustainable growth that becomes possible when people stop bracing for social pain. Belonging is a hardwired survival need. Neuroscience shows that social rejection and exclusion trigger many of the same brain pathways as physical pain. The brain reacts to being ignored, left out, or dismissed, much like it does a twisted ankle or a migraine. When people feel accepted, seen, and valued, different systems come online: reward, motivation, and learning. Social rewards like being listened to, reflected back, and affirmed will feed the brain in ways that lower stress and nudge the nervous system towards regulation rather than threat. For entrepreneurs whose days are filled with uncertainty, delayed feedback, and risk, that kind of predictable pro-social reward isn't a nice to have. It's a stabilizing force. Entrepreneurship asks people to make decisions on their own, absorb risk alone, often fail in public, and then process it in private. Leaving a regular job often means losing daily social contact. Long hours and money worries make it harder to keep up with friends, hobbies, and healthy habits. Add working from home, and loneliness becomes part of the routine. For ADHD and neurodivergent entrepreneurs, there's another challenge: a mismatch between the person and their environment. Our brains are wired for novelty, pattern spotting, idea generation, and risk taking. These traits can be great strengths in entrepreneurship, but only if the environment supports them. Many neurodivergent founders choose entrepreneurship because traditional systems don't work for them. But without the right community, it's easy to end up with the same shame, pressure, and isolation in your own business. A community built for these kinds of brains needs to do more than just offer networking. It has to normalize nonlinear paths, rest, and changing your mind. It needs to offer structure without rigidity. And it needs to allow for both creative bursts and low energy days while making sure everyone still feels they belong. This is what Curated Conversation has been doing quietly, week after week. It began as a coffee connection, a simple Monday Zoom for like-hearted humans who were tired of traditional square-hole networking and just wanted a place where we cheer when someone makes it to the call. The intention was simple. It was a weekly touch point where creative small business owners could show up as humans first and entrepreneurs second. When I asked members what this space means to them, they'd say support, friendship, together, belonging, and community. From there, the space grew into the Weekly MindSweep framework, where we explore a monthly curated theme through curated conversation, mind your business, manage your mind, and what's on my mind. And from time to time, we get one of these, a curator's perspective, a reflective anchor to a month. Themes like community, trust, capacity, neurodiversity, permission, compassion, boundaries, self-worth, shame, and belonging weren't random. They match the emotional challenges creative entrepreneurs were already facing. Each month offers a relatable entrepreneurial story that invites honesty instead of performance, practical business tools that respect how the ADHD and sensitive brains process information, and brain-based explanations for topics like freezing, masking, or self-sabotage, so these patterns make sense instead of feeling like proof that we're broken. Over time, this created exactly what neuroscience predicts, a reliable, rewarding social ritual that quiets the brain's threat response. People show up on Mondays not just for the content, but because their nervous system has learned, when I log in here, I won't be shamed, I'll be understood. When entrepreneurs grow in a space where they feel like they belong, their brains regain energy and focus. Instead of burning energy on thoughts like, do they like me? Am I too much? Am I already behind? The brain relaxes, making more room for planning, creativity, and getting things done. Research shows that giving and receiving support activates the brain's reward circuits, much like earning money does. Community gives the brain dopamine and oxytocin, not just stress hormones. For ADHD and neurodivergent founders, this matters deeply because regular calls, shared language, and gentle accountability work like an extra prefrontal cortex, helping with prioritizing and following through when time blindness or rejection sensitivity show up. It changes how we experience social pain. Every time someone shares a too much story and is met with empathy instead of criticism, the brain learns that social risk isn't always harmful. Over time, this makes it easier to be seen, changing prices, collaborate, and lead. Making sure people and their environment fit includes things like camera off days, quiet participation, and co-regulation. These are not just accommodations, they are choices that help people stay and grow. This isn't a dopamine chasing hustle. It's about steady growth at a pace you can handle with small changes that add up over time. Neuroscience calls this repeated, low-threat learning, trying new things, feeling accepted, and slowly changing your expectations. In a world where entrepreneurs face more mental health challenges than most, belonging isn't just a nice idea, it's a smart strategy. Entrepreneurs who feel less isolated persist longer, recover faster, and make better decisions because they aren't doing it alone. For ADHD and neurodivergent entrepreneurs, spaces like curated conversation can be the difference between thinking, maybe I'm not cut out for this, and realizing my brain works differently and I can build around that. A truly safe business community is where the room expects divergence, not performance. Psychological safety is held intentionally, not accidentally. And brain science and lived experience are honored side by side. You don't earn belonging by being perfectly productive or by finishing the year strong. Belonging is something you practice every week, even when you're tired, feeling shame, or life feels overwhelming. Curated conversation began with a handful of people and a simple invitation. Start with coffee, 8 a.m. every Monday. It's grown into a community where creative, ADHD, and neurodivergent entrepreneurs aren't just running businesses, they're building communities. They're rewiring their relationship to work, to their worth, and to one another. That's the quiet strength of belonging. It changes what feels possible inside a person's nervous system, and from there, inside a business, a community, and little by little, a world that is safer for brains like ours. We're changing the world, one Monday morning at a time, because we value the 1% growth and rewiring we practice each week. My questions for you: what kind of community support helps you take risks you might avoid on your own? And how has community, or the lack of it, shaped the way you make decisions in your business? Reply and share with me. Join us for Curator Conversation. If you've been looking for a business space where you can be yourself, Curator Conversation is here for you. It's a weekly live gathering for creative, ADHD, and neurodivergent entrepreneurs who care about real connection and meaningful conversation. We meet every Monday morning to talk, share insights, and support each other in a safe and intentional space. We've made this a membership community so we can protect it, keep it going, and care for everyone involved. Your first month is free. Come join us. You can listen quietly or share when you feel ready. Take your time and do what feels right for you. If it feels like the right place for you, you're welcome to stay as a member. If not, you'll leave with clarity and no pressure. Start with coffee, 8 a.m. Mondays, belonging included. You belong here, I can help. Your brain isn't the problem, the expectation placed on it are. I help ADHD and creatively wired entrepreneurs stop forcing themselves into strategies that don't fit and start building momentum in ways that honor their nervous system, energy, and ideas. Through MindSweep mapping and small group experiences, we slow things down, make sense of what your nervous system is signaling, and build a business that supports how you actually think and work. If you're curious, let's start with a conversation. No fixing, no performing, just clarity. Your brain, your business, mapped. You can learn about MindSweep mapping, curated conversation, or you can book a free consultation all on my website at chickbookcreative.com.